Okay, YouTubers, this is Cape here with another one of your videos. This video is on how to skin a squirrel. In this case, I'm using a fox squirrel to demonstrate. I shot it with a 17 HMR. I hit it right. Alright, here's the entrance hole, right there. And here's the exit hole, right over here. But I hit it at like 10 yards, so the bullet did not have time to expand and do all that nasty damage. I got 2 today. The other one is a fox red mix. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's got the head of a fox and all that good stuff. And here's the tail. It looks it's a normal gray squirrel tail, but I hit that one with my 17 HMR too, but it was a little bit further away. Alright, so first things first, go ahead and cut around the feet. Alright, just go ahead and cut around the feet all the way. I go right through the tendons and all the meat and stuff too, because I ain't really worried about it. It's a lot of work to process these pelts. I mean, after a few of them, you'll get tired. I've done about 20 this season so far. So, you know, it gets boring sometimes. Alright, you're going to cut around the hind feet, not the front feet. I don't think I said that yet. But, this is like, I found that it's the best way to do it so far. It's the best way I've found to do it so far. You don't need such a big knife, but I like to, I don't know why, I just picked up this knife not too long ago and started to use it on things again. It's a little junky one, but still it works. It does its job. And you're going to make sure you cut through the skin. I mean, if you want to take the time and try not to cut through the meat or the tendons, be my guest, but I go straight through it all to the bone. You can even cut the feet off. It would probably be a little bit easier to do that, but I don't really care. Alright, and then you're going to want to take a little pointy blade knife like this, just a little one. And I don't know how I'm going to say this exactly, but I don't know exactly how to say this without sounding perverted. Alright, you're going to go by the butthole, where the butthole is, and you're going to stick the blade in there. And you'll see the different coloration between the fur. You'll see the dark brown and red, orange. And then you'll see the orange. You're going to cut right up that line all the way to the ankle. Okay? Go right in through the butthole. Be careful because there are bones down in there and it's harder to not stab those. But either way. Now you're going to have to do this on both sides. But like I said, normally it's a little bit easier to do it this way. I used to go in from the ankle towards the center of the stomach, but I realized that this makes a better pelt if you do it this way. This isn't the way to do it, it's just so far one of the best I've found. And you'll see the fur separating like that. Okay, you'll see the fur separated like that all the way to the butthole. You want to turn around and do the same thing on the other side as well. Okay, now let me just go ahead and get this one done real quick, as fast as I can anyways. Now this, you kind of want to try not to cut the meat, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes I cut the meat, sometimes I don't. I'm not really worried about it. And I found that if you go up from the butthole to the ankle instead of the ankle to the stomach, it also doesn't tear up the meat as much when you're trying to get it off. But fox squirrels are kind of harder to skin. Now, as you can see, some of the fur is still attached up around the ankles and shit, and I screwed up and used that bigger knife. It does okay sometimes. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to go where that gash is, and you're just going to peel the fur from the meat. Okay? It's technically just about all you're going to really want to do so far from this point on. Now, I'm not going to be doing how to pin it to the board or nothing, because I use cardboard and sewing pins. most of the time. Sewing pins are a little bit easier to use. They don't poke big holes. Push pins are good too, the little push pins that you use for foam boards or whatever. Sometimes the meat will stay attached to the skin, but I'm not really worried about it because I can take it off later. Go ahead and just pull this down from the leg here. Actually, I'll go ahead and just get this started cutting it off a little bit, the meat. And if you're really curious about how to pin a squirrel to a board, there are plenty of other videos on how to do it. Just don't be like those other morons out there and use nails, because it really fucks up your pelt. That bird's getting awfully close. Either way, go ahead and just pull it.
Flying in the house.
Either way, go ahead and just keep pulling it off down to the leg like this. Okay. The next step's going to be a little weird too, so. Normally, lately I've been just cutting off their tails and stripping their fur off the meat and eating the meat, but getting rid of the fur, or I keep the tail because my 17 HMR does some pretty good damage to the squirrel itself, or the pelt. So it's kind of bad to use 17 HMR for squirrels. If I was you, I'd use a 22 or, a 20 gauge is a decent gun for squirrel hunting, but I just don't like the fact of multiple little BBs. I don't care. I'm not. Alright, the next part, you're going to cut out the crotch area. You see the fur right up and through the center there. You want to cut out the crotch or the winky or whatever's in there. You're just going to cut that area completely out. It doesn't add anything extra to your pelt. It just doesn't do anything good for your pelt. And then you'll have that patch of fur right there, just like that, separated from the tail area and everything. Okay. Next thing is to pretty much just pull it off its body like a coon. Okay, like this. Start to work your way around to the back, right here. Okay, you're going to want to go in front of the tail and just poke your way under both sides of the fur. So where you can push through that stuff right there, and you can have your finger room to get your fingers in there. All right, what I like to do is I like to go up the tail about an inch, just about an inch up the tail, and just cut the fur up to about an inch. And fox squirrels are one of the hardest squirrels to skin. I've noticed that. And it just makes it a little bit, okay, just about an inch or an inch and a half, somewhere around there, depends on how big the squirrel is. I always do it. It helps the tail dry out a lot faster. Okay, and then the tail is one of the most risky parts, because if you rip that tailbone off in the tail or rip the tail, it's bad. So what I do is once you get your fur separated from your back till like that, I like to grab, like, put one finger under and pinch the sides. But I normally do it with my right hand because I'm stronger with that hand. I try not to let the fur once you get it down so far like this, it'll start to fold on itself. You just keep grabbing it right there before the fold, and it'll eventually just break all the vertebrae right off, and then you got your bone out of your tail. So it's pretty simple, and then you just pretty much grab your fur, grab your legs, and just pull it straight off. Yucky. Yeah, this squirrel is not edible. But, I've only killed 3 fox squirrels in my entire life. The rest have been grays and reds, but I'm not a big fan of shooting. I don't really have a problem with shooting any kind of squirrel, but fox squirrels carry a lot of body fat on them. And I was wrong, the 17-inch Mar tore a lot of its food out of its stomach. I don't know how. I guess it just busted its stomach clean open. But it's starting to smell like black walnuts in here. Or out here. It stinks really bad. And you're going to want to get it up to about the shoulder blades, or the elbows I meant. You're going to just try to push the elbows through. It's going to be a little difficult. My legs are starting to go numb. It's starting to stink like black walnuts, and I hate the smell of them. Will you quit mumbling? Yeah, that's what be. Smoosh to be. Like I said, just get it down to about the elbows. This video is going to be a little bit longer than I thought. Hopefully it doesn't shut off on me. But like I said, just get it down to the elbows, and you'll start to see them pop through away from the pelt. That's when you're just going to want to go ahead and get mine started down into there, and I'll show you. Okay, you get to a part where the pelt and the crease in the elbow starts. You just want to find the weak point of the muscle, or of the skin, pop your thumb straight through there, and just practically pull it off. Okay, sometimes it'll rip some of the fur off the fingers, but I'm not worried about that because I'll end up cutting the ends off anyways to make them straight.